We took that picture, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to make sure my mic's working. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wyatt live stream of the Living Free in Tennessee podcast. This is something I've been trying just for the fun of it. And at this time, I don't usually know what time I'm going to live stream my podcast. So I don't say in advance when it's happening. I just pop onto YouTube and whoever wants to chime in, chimes in. I have the controls for YouTube and my other audio. Hi, Sugar Creek Homestead. So I have that over here, and I sometimes see your chats. Other times I don't because I'm concentrating on what I want to do, and I'm trying to look at the camera, which is there. So it's been a bit of a learning experience for me, and yeah, we'll see if we keep doing it. If you guys enjoy it, I'll do it because it's not really that much more work to live stream this. It just means you might hear me say a bad word from time to time. So far, I've been controlling myself. I know you're probably a little sad about that. Anyway. So today I'm going to launch the episode. It's a quick one. So it's Wednesday and my goal here is 30 minutes. And sometimes I just talk on and on and on. Last week I talked on and on and on. And we're still doing this pantry series because a lot of people are interested in pantry management lately. So I thought I would do that. So what I'm going to do now, since it looks like you can hear me, I haven't seen you tell me you can't hear me. And the audio appears to be making blips. Excellent. I'm going to just go over to my GarageBand, hit record, and this happened last time. I have to make the screen bigger so I find it. Anyway, I'm going to hit record, and then we'll jump into the podcast. Hey, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, and this is episode 283 of Living Free in Tennessee. Welcome to our podcast today. And I thought since we're doing more hardcore how-to things on Wednesday, I would continue the series of pantry management that I started a few weeks ago and have a discussion about how to keep your pantry stocked. Because once you get everything organized and you've built up a store of supplies, the next thing is making sure you have them and or you know when to tap into sales and that sort of thing. And remember, this is all founded on the concept of store what you use what you store, just to tap off of Jack Spirko's recommendations over at the Survival Podcast. And I think restocking can be a real bugaboo for some people. Like they get all up and running and it's going well. And all of a sudden you go in there for sugar and no sugar. And then you go in there for something else like olives. And I'm actually out of olives right now, oddly enough. No olives. And it's a kind of a bummer if you feel like you have to go to that store for the one item. It's a lot of time invested if you think about, even if you live 5 minutes from the store, like 5 minutes to the store, go to the shelf, find the item, wait in line, pay for the item, 5 minutes home. You may have lost half an hour. You may have lost an hour. In my case, if I drive to the store, hi, a farmer's kind of life, then I end up, wasting more than an hour, which stinks. So I'm just going to talk about how I manage my inventory, and you can build your system to fit into your life, because the key here is any system you use, you want to use something that you can manage and your family will help you with. Otherwise, you end up back in that situation where you're out of olives. The funny thing about this podcast, guys, today is that 2 to 3 other people access my pantry on a regular basis, depending on if Mama Sauce is in town or not. And they don't know my system. Mama Sauce gets it. The 2 of them don't get it. So they get to listen to this podcast, and then they're finally going to understand what it is they were supposed to be doing all this time. So that's kind of fun. Also, today is Holler Hat Wednesday. Where is she and who is she with? The question here is, where is she and who is she with? So this is a perfect example, guys, of when I'm recording the podcast, I will just stop and then I'll jump back in. Right now, if you go to Instagram and look, what you're going to see is I haven't updated the photo yet because I do that after I record the podcast. So if you try to go see right now, you're not going to see it. Okay, I'm going to jump back in. Of course, last week we had Amy. Amy was here to help us get ready for the spring workshop at the end of April, and she was wearing the hat in the newly set up karaoke room. So we've got karaoke set up, ready to go, and tested. This week, just tell me, where is the Holler Hat and who is she with? You can do that over at Instagram at Nicole Sauce, or just hit me up on Facebook and you will see that as well. Also, tomorrow, 7:30 to 8 on MeWe, we have our live chat, and it's been banging, especially with all these people stuck at home. So head on over there. It's kind of fun to see what's going on. And then finally, I don't know if you heard me say, "Hey, hi, Amy," on the way. Amy. Yeah, Amy. I, I've had two Amy's in this episode. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I said hi, Amy, at the beginning because I am also live streaming this on YouTube. I decided this week to rip the Band-Aid off. Some people have been asking me, why don't you live stream your podcast? It's kind of interesting to see how you edit as you go and that sort of thing. So I'm doing that on a regular basis as much as possible. On Friday's show, it's an interview show. It's pre-recorded. Doesn't make much sense to live stream me like copying the file in and doing the recording. But today, I do have a segment I'll add and you'll get to see that. So if you're interested in kind of seeing the nuts and bolts of how this is done, you can do that at YouTube. Just go to the Living Free in Tennessee channel and click subscribe. I do not have these out on a schedule though, guys, because I don't know what time I'm recording this every day. I put my notes together. I do important things like ship my coffee orders, which there have been a number of this week. And then I sit down and record the podcast. My goal is to get it out by 5 every day. Sometimes I get it out at 2. It just really depends on how the day lines out. And, some days we have funny stuff happen in the holler. Like today we had a really fun visitor stop by. So I sat and had a cup of tea with our friend Jenny from Social Networks. Finally, remember, if you have a Stump the Sauce question or any expert segment question, send it to me. Or if you just want to give me a comment, you can do that. Email Nicole@livingfreeintennessee.com or go to livingfreeintennessee.com, click on contact. And guess what? Those emails come to me, not Mama Sauce. Me, not Mama Sauce. With that, it's time for our first segment, and that's Stump the Sauce. Only here's the deal. Somebody wanted to stump Chef Brett instead of me. And what they said was, with the increased reliance on staying home and dealing with cooking from canned goods and the other things you have stored up right now, what advice do you have for cooking? Does Chef Brett have time to weigh in on this? And you know what? He did. So I am going to queue up the segment from Brett. And this is where I queue up the segment for Brett. So guys, bear with me. If you make comments, by the way, those of you who are watching who are new here, I will see them. I don't always react to them, but it's been kind of fun. So anyway, Sugar Creek is buffering. What does buffering mean? How do you watch YouTube when you're driving, Sugar Creek? I might get an answer to that in 10 minutes because Sugar Creek is buffering, by the way. Okay, so what I'm doing here, I'm going into my files. The way I organize my files is I have Living Free in Tennessee in its own folder, and then I copy my segments over there, but I believe in this case, I did not download Brett's. So I'm going to my email. I'm going down to where he's really organized, by the way, guys. I'm always impressed with how organized he is. And he sent this to me on Sunday. So we'll just scroll down here. What day of the week was it? It was the 15th. Oh, there it is. Boom. So I'm just downloading it. And I download it to the folder. So this is like the thing that has kept me sane in running a podcast, is always organizing my things in the podcast folder and naming them appropriately with the date, as well as what it is, so that I don't completely lose my mind later. Why? Well, because stuff. So now what I'm doing, I've just saved the file properly where it needs to go. It takes just an extra 30 seconds to do that. And then I'm dropping it in here, and Brett Chef is going to tell us. You're not going to be able to hear this, though. So here he goes. Okay, so that goes through to the end, and I had already listened to it, so I know he doesn't do crazy stuff in the middle, and I don't need to go back. But thing about cooking from what you store is you have to cook with what you have. I've been tempted to just start getting people to tell me what they have and start doing like little YouTube things in the evening when people are getting ready to cook dinner. So I've dropped the segment in. I'm going to start recording again. Before I do that, I need to have my bulleted list up or I will totally get lost. Okay, I'm starting again. Great advice from Chef Brett, as always. And, it's an interesting time right now where we get to cook with what we have. Isn't that funny? It's something we should all be doing anyway. It's not worth running to the store to get just one thing, but we get a little spoiled, don't we, when we can just go get whatever we need. Okay, with that, it is time for the main topic of today's show, a pantry restocking system. Well, first of all, why would you set up a pantry restocking system? I think a lot of people get their pantries up and running and then they stock it so they have a cushion of food. Maybe it's 2 weeks as recommended for hurricane preparedness. Right now, we're looking at 30 to 60 days because of all the coronavirus shutdowns. And I did say the word coronavirus on purpose in this podcast because I have somebody I'm trolling. Coronavirus, coronavirus, coronavirus. Okay, there I said it. I don't know if that means that our Cider Hollow friend's going to like pop up in the room now. But anyway, once you have that store that you're cycling through, and my stores are a little weird because they're seasonal. So some things I store for a whole year because like I can all of my tomatoes at one time. Other things like toilet paper, I keep a 3-month supply on hand because 1 cube of Sam's Club toilet paper lasts for 3 months. And so I have one in long-term storage and then I have one in medium-term storage. And when I'm pulling from the medium storage, if I run out of that one and I restock, then I get the new one. So you see how that works. So it rotates through. This having a system for restocking though is, well, it's a life-saving thing because once you get that store up, if you don't keep track of what's there, you may find yourself in a situation where you want to run your dishwasher and you don't have dishwasher detergent, for example, and you're looking at the Dawn going, should I? And have you ever done that? I've done that. I know exactly what happens when you add Dawn to a dishwasher. And let me tell you, it makes quite the bubbly mess. I have done it one time in my life, and I've had several roommates over the years in shared apartments where I hear them screaming from the kitchen. And it's like, it always reminds me of that Brady Bunch show where Bobby put way too much soap in the washing machine because he was washing his pants and it took over the entire laundry room with suds. It's kind of like that. And the funny thing is a hack for that is you put 2 drops of Dawn detergent, you put a tablespoon of salt and preferably one with like a kosher salt so it doesn't have extra clumping agent in it. And you pour vinegar into the washer itself, and that will also clean your dishes. That's one of the detergents I've used here because I'm trying not to back up my gray water system with soap buildup. Anyway, it's a real bummer when you have to hand wash your dishes because you did not restock something. So the first and most important reason to have a restocking system is so you don't run out. Secondly, nobody wants to do inventory. I don't want to run around with a clipboard or my computer like, how much of this do I have? How much of that? That takes a lot of time. Why would I want to do that when if I just have a system where I know stuff is always coming back in, I've got stuff always coming back in and I know the stuff will be there. And you will know when to take advantage of sales. If you have a restocking system and you know what's in your pantry, you will know if you go to Sam's Club and toilet paper is on sale for $10 a cube instead of $22 a cube, I'll buy 2 or 3 cubes and you don't end up buying like 10. Like a friend of mine the other day told me he had a roommate who just went through a lot of toilet paper he was living with years ago. And so he didn't realize it. He just realized I need to order toilet paper every month at the current amount. And he set up a subscribe and save at Amazon. And when that person moved out, he didn't realize that the subscribe and save kept coming in and they were not using anywhere near that amount of toilet paper. And his partner asked him, like, what should I start doing with this toilet paper? He said, well, put it in the attic. A couple years later, when he was out of a job and transitioning, he looked around his office and saw that there were 3 big boxes of toilet paper in his office. And he was like, well, I thought I told her to put it in the attic. And she said, yeah, there's no room in the attic anymore. And he went up there and he realized they had a 5-year supply of toilet paper. Okay, you don't want to be in that situation. It was good for him because he didn't have to buy toilet paper for 5 years, but that much toilet paper, man, you can attract mice and stuff. So you know how to take advantage of sales when you have the restocking system because you have a good idea of how much you have of whatever. And then if you see something on sale, you can say, you know what, I'll finish out the year on this and then we're good to go, right? So I think having a restocking system, once you have a well-organized pantry and having your stores, your cushion set up, whether it's 2 weeks, 30 days, a year, whatever you're going to do for your supplies, I think it sets you up to weather unexpected things like a job loss or our current coronavirus shut-in situation where some people are in cities where they're not allowed to go out anymore. And that's kind of difficult if what you need to do is restock, right? So it's kind of nice. I do know when I transitioned from a job to doing this life full time, the fact that I had a pantry full of stuff was like part of the reason I made it through that first year, because I really didn't have to buy much. And that meant I didn't have to earn the money to spend the money to buy much. So then the next question becomes, what characteristics should your restocking system have? And I really think there are three, because I do everything in threes, don't I? There are three things that you need to have as part of your restocking system. And number one is that it's easy to use. Number two is that it works. And number three is that it's easy to use. I know a lot of people who work in organizational operations who have a very complex way of tracking what's in stock in their house. And that's great. But if you need to have more than one person involved and you're spending hours counting things and updating spreadsheets and blah, 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 and labels and shelving systems. I mean, okay, this is how I see that. If you're alone, that works. If you want other people involved, a lot of people have different ways of processing information. And while for one kind of brain that's very analytical and detail oriented and works from the detail up, that's going to work. But if you get somebody like me who's more creative and goes big picture and then down, I'm going to just tell you to screw off, because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And I'm certainly not going to build a system like that for myself that seems also uber organized and then not do it, right? So easy to use, it works, and it's easy to use. And I really think you have to remember here, guys, the goal is to keep things in stock so that if something is not stockable when you shop for it, you're like, meh, no big deal. They don't have toilet paper right now. I got plenty of toilet paper. It was time to restock, but I got a 3-month stock, and who cares? By 3 months from now, we'll be back into a toilet paper rich environment, right? It also helps you avoid losing money to higher priced purchases because you have to in scarcity. An example of this would be if I ran out of tomato stocks, and this happened to me one year. I ran out of home canned tomato sauce. It costs me between $1.50 and $2 a jar to have home canned tomato sauce. The tomato sauce that I was buying was sugar-free and organic, was $4 to $5 a jar. I can't remember exactly. And I ran out, and we were in a cycle where we were eating a lot of pasta, and that required tomato sauce. So I bought a bunch of this really expensive stuff. And if I would have just realized this is how much we need and this is how to restock it, or this is how much I need for a year in that case, I would have been fine. So as you're able to restock, if something is scarce, you don't have to buy it at a higher price, right? Like you see people reselling freaking toilet paper for higher prices right now. And that's actually going to stop, because here's what's happened locally to us. And I'm sure this is happening everywhere else. People hit all the stores and hit all of the stuff. And then what happened? Shelves were bare and the news reported on it. And then what happened? More trucks came. And so there's rolling things that are not there now, but it's not like it was, for that first couple days. And that's an important thing to learn from, because if your pantry stocking day was the day all the shelves were bare and you still have a 30-day cushion on pantry restocking day, who cares? You just kind of keep an eye out for the next 30 days. Okay, so I'm going to share with you my process. And this is it's like dead simple and it's collaborative. Okay, those are some things I need because I have multiple people involved. The first thing is I have different kinds of storage. Short-term storage is in my kitchen. That's the things I'm just going to grab and use, right? Mid-term storage is between, I use my mudroom for that. And that's things that, like, maybe if I open a package of toilet paper, which seems to be my big example today for whatever reason, that's because I just stocked toilet paper in my bathroom. So if I open a package of toilet paper, it has 9 rolls and I only need 4. And so I put the remainder in my mudroom rather than leaving them all the way outside in long-term storage. And then eventually I take another package out of long-term storage. Okay. Long-term storage is mostly in my prepper pantry, which I have to walk outside the house. It's kind of a half root cellar, half storage area, and also has my deep freezer. So that whole room is what I call long-term storage, and that's where I keep the majority of the things that can be out there that are not like, because my canned goods are in the house. And when I pull something out of long-term storage, that's a big deal. Some things only stay in long-term storage for me. For example, vinegar. When I need vinegar, I go to long-term storage. I don't need an interim step. It's really things like paper towels, toilet paper, some foods. Some foods will come in a bigger box and then get distributed to a smaller box in my kitchen so I don't lose my mind. So once a week or so, or as I need, I restock my short-term storage either from medium-term storage or long-term storage. And when I pull something from long-term storage, I record it for restocking. So if I pull it out of the prepper pantry, I write it down. And there are two ways for me to do this. One, I use the Amazon shopping list. So I can just talk to Alexa and say, put this on the list. And then I end up with that on the list. And that's my digital way. If you don't have Alexa, you can use an app called Cozy, and it's shareable among family members. It works great. I've used that with Mama Sauce. In fact, we use that every April getting ready for the spring workshop. Okay, so that's one way. It's a digital way. And the reason I chose that is I can do it with my phone, which is almost always on me. Second, I have dry erase boards in my kitchen, and I'll write it on the dry erase board. That's my whole system. And the reason that's my system is that it's dead simple. It is dead simple, and it works. And as long as everybody who's accessing the long-term storage knows when it comes out of long-term storage, we write it down, I'm good to go on reordering. And then when I reorder it, I just look at both lists. One's on my phone, one's in my kitchen. I'm usually sitting at my kitchen table, like on my computer. And Amy says, "This is perfect. I love this idea." Amy, you're already doing this, aren't you? Anyway, sometimes I will leave an item that's on the list off of my reorder list. There are two reasons I would do that. One, because I can't find it. So what's been happening lately is that different things are out of stock. And so I order the things that they have and pick them up. Or I already know I have enough of a surplus in stock that, during certain seasons, things cost less. And I may say, I have enough to get through to May anyway. So in May, when asparagus is cheap, I'm just going to wait till then and buy cases of asparagus at that time. And, what's happened in the last couple weeks is I need to restock avocado oil, and they were out of avocado oil at Sam's Club. And I talked about it on this podcast, and somebody literally drove by, our friend Mark Alexander drove by and dropped me off a bottle of avocado oil that he found. So that was really sweet. Shopping frequency is greatly reduced. I go to the store once a week for fresh vegetables and milk products. And I don't really have to do that, but I like fresh pool. Monday on my way to choir. Those are the 2 days I would do the weekly shop. And I go pretty much to the same stores. And then for everything else that's not really just sort of that fresh veggie, or I want some lunch meat, or I want to pick up, a couple of cans of green beans. I don't know why I do that, because I have a million of them canned in my canning pantry, but whatever. Green beans, pick it up there. I do monthly for everything else. And I have been using, because I bought a Sam's Club membership last year in order to stock everything for the spring workshop at Living Free in Tennessee. I've been using Sam's Club. You know what's cool about Sam's Club? You go online and you look for what you want, and you add it to your cart, and you say, I can pick it up. And then you choose a time to pick it up. And what this does is keep me the hell out of Sam's Club. I just walk in, don't even have to go all the way in the store, tell them I'm here. They hand me a cart. I've already paid in advance, or I pay right there. I show the lady that I'm not stealing, and I go right back out the door. And I don't have to wander up and down those giant aisles with all the stuff and get distracted by the mixer that they have that's on a really, really good sale. But frankly, I don't need you know what I'm talking about? You get in the Sam's Club, and it's impulse buy city, and there's all these confused people. And then there's these long lines at the checkout. All of that's avoided by doing pickup. And that has saved me so much time, just having things that dialed in. I can get in and out of my weekly shop within, 20 minutes, and I'm driving by that store anyway. Sometimes it's only 10, guys. And then Sam's Club, as long as I choose my day and time, drive up, show them the thing. Within 5 minutes, I'm back out loading my car and I'm good to go. So that's really freed me up and I don't run out of stuff anymore. The key, though, is that I do it on a schedule and it keeps things rolling. You know, that whole thing of load from the back, pull from the front. And you'll find if you look at different stores, that option's there a lot. Tractor Supply lets you order for pickup. Like I literally can put in my feed order and go pick it up. And I don't have to wander to the store. They pick it for me. I usually just go pick it up. And with Tractor Supply, the trick for me, I wait till they sell me that. They send like this quarterly good neighbor discount code for 25% off. I wait for that. When I get that thing up to $1,000, I get 25% off everything I buy, including dog food. And my dogs spend as much on food as I do every month. And that's kind of a deal for me right now. So I've been looking for ways to keep them getting healthy food, but get that bill down. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed how I manage my restocking system. I would like to know, what do you do to restock your pantry? Do you have a different way to do it? And is it super easy to manage for a really creatively inclined person like me? I don't know. Let me know. You can do that in the comments on Facebook or over on the blog. With that, guys, if you want to support the show and the work we do here, you can do it in two ways. One is go to hollowroast.com and order your coffee. I will mail it to your door. I will not roast your coffee if I feel like I'm sick. I promise. Anyway, hollowroast.com for coffee, or go over to the membership portal, livingfreeintennessee.com. Become a member and you get access to some webinars we're doing. I'm actually doing one for free today at 7 p.m. Eastern. If you hear this today, get signed up over at livingfreeintennessee.com. There's like a sign up button in the upper right-hand corner. If I see that you've signed up, I'll send you the Zoom invitation and you can go get signed up. And it's Sue Zoldak from the Zoldak Agency talking about how to create a Facebook ad campaign. And guys, this lady knows what she's doing. I have watched her build digital campaigns for policy issues and other people for years, and she's great at it. So you don't want to miss this one. I thought we'd do it for free this week because a lot of you were stuck at home, and that's kind of fun. With that, go out, make it a great week. Okay, guess what? Halfway through that stupid podcast, do you know what happened? My audio recorder just turned the hell off. I'm going to have to re-record the whole freaking thing. Okay, it was right when Amy said that thing. Amy, it's your fault. No, it's not really your fault. Okay, where was I? Oh my goodness. So this is what happens when you do things like live stream. Now I'm gonna have to go back. So I I wish I could say this has never happened to me in the past. It's totally happened. I'm just gonna keep this rolling. I'm gonna re-record the podcast. It's gonna have different words. So you guys have, yeah. Okay. I'm listening. So sad. Talking about, I made it to the Alexa moment. That's good. Skipping ahead. This is kind of fun, isn't it? I wonder if I get to the point where I tell you guys how often I order. Okay. So now I know where to jump back in. I said, anyway, so I'm going to have to try to make it sound natural now, that as if I'm just still talking. This is always fun to do. A friend of mine once, I was visiting his house and I was in another room recording my podcast, and the technology kept not working. And he's like, you should totally record this because it's hilarious to listen to you get all mad. Okay. So, okay. I'm going to listen to the intro one more time and make sure I make this sound natural. As I said, I'm usually sitting in my kitchen just deciding what I need to reorder, and I'll look at both lists, and sometimes I'll leave an item off. Like if I see something on the list that I'm going to need, a little bit of, it's time to reorder, and I know it's going on sale in like 3 months, I might just wait to order it till I know it will go on sale. And then if I see something that I know that I need to build up over time, I might buy a little bit more of that. So sometimes when I go through the list, I'll look at them both. I'll mark stuff off as I'm ordering it, and I'll leave stuff up there for a week or two or a month or two. Like right now, I've had avocado oil on there for a while because when I went to reorder it, it wasn't in stock. No worries, though. I still have an unopened bottle, so I know I have 30 days. And in the next 30 days, I expect it to be back in stock. However, one of you did solve that problem for me. Mark Alexander stopped by yesterday with a surprise bottle of avocado oil because he saw it at Kroger and he'd heard that I was out. So he made a big presentation. It was hilarious. He even had a little spritzer that he was putting in front of him as he went, just to make sure that everything was sterile as he dropped off the bottle of avocado oil. And with this comes a more solid frequency of shopping for me. So I used to go to the store 3-4 times a week. Now I go shopping once a week for fresh vegetables and milk products, and then monthly for everything else. And my whole life is better because I spend a lot less time worrying about what to shop for. And a lot of it can be done online. The weekly trip I do is at an Aldi usually, and it's on my way to choir or it's on my way home from the pool. So I don't even have to make a special trip. I'm driving by it anyway. I pop in there, I get what I know I need, and then I'm out within 10 to 20 minutes. For the monthly orders, and this is the big restock. This is like my toilet paper, and if I'm going to buy a big old bag of shredded cheese, because Aldi cheeses are like this big, if it's a shredded cheese thing, which I'm now using to make chaffles, I'll do that in the Sam's Club order, or the awesome avocado oil. The best price I've found on avocado oil is at Sam's Club. It's like $6.99 for a pretty big bottle. Anyway, I'll do that online. And the cool thing about Sam's Club is I can order everything online, put it in the cart, check out, and go pick it up. And I don't have to go into the club and wander up and down the aisles and run into the people who are sitting there going, what do I want? What's this? I won't see that like super awesome flat screen TV that I always thought I wanted, but now it's on sale and maybe no, the impulse buys are taken care of. I pop in the back door, prove I am who I am, and then I show them my ID. If I've already paid for it online, they hand me my stuff. The lady who makes sure you're not stealing stuff scans everything. I walk out the door and I'm done. It has never taken me longer than 15 minutes to pick up, and that was a long one. 15 minutes to walk in and pick up my order at Sam's Club. And a lot of stores are adding either this or they'll meet you in the parking lot. My sister said she was at Target 2 weeks ago and she did her whole pantry restocking order there, and they brought it to her car. She's like, I'm never going into a Target again as long as I live. That was just too great. And then I have special circumstances items that I order. Like I get ingredients for cheese making, or I have things that I can only get on Amazon or from specific people, like the herd share. I'm trying to get this. So I've signed up for a herd share with a goat. This is going to eliminate the need for me to stop at Aldi for milk items because I'll just do goat's milk. And those specialty items I do on the schedule that it needs to be done, right? With Amazon, it's about monthly that I put in a restocking order. And if I get the herd share, I'm going to be going to Smithville once a week. So we'll see how that comes. Anyway, the key to doing this well is do it on a schedule and keep things rolling so you always have that buffer of stuff stored because you're organized with your pantry. You have a system for getting it from, long-term storage to short-term storage. If you now have a system in place that everybody understands for restocking that, well, heck, now you're free to make sure you take advantage of sales. Like when Tractor Supply, they send out a quarterly 25% off coupon. I buy a bunch of feed when that happens. Like Goat has a great day when that happens. It's quarterly and I can go up to $1,000 in purchases. I'd never touch that number, but I make sure I have more than a month's worth of food at that point if I can store it. So that's how I do mine. How do you do your pantry? How do you restock your pantry? Do you have another clever way to do it? Let me know in the comments over on Facebook or on the MeWe group or in the comments section of the show notes at livingfreeintennessee.com. If you like the show and want to support the work we're doing, you can do that by going over to livingfreeintennessee.com and clicking on membership and becoming a member. We've added webinars this year and it's been really popular. So today at 7 p.m. Eastern, not Central, it's 6 Central, Sue Zoldak's coming on to talk to us about how to do a Facebook ad campaign. And she knows what she's doing. I've watched her do campaigns, digital campaigns for many people, and she always wins. So if you're going to learn about how to do a Facebook ad campaign, I would say you want to learn it from Sue. You can sign up still. It is free. I'm offering it free because a lot of you were stuck at home, livingfreeintennessee.com. And in the upper right-hand corner is a little announcement about how to sign up for that webinar, pretty much up until 5:30 Central, which is 6:30 Eastern. If you sign up, I'll get you the invitation to the Zoom setup. You install a little app on your computer, and then it streams over your computer. So you're going to want to have internet and a computer because she's going to do a screen share. So you're going to want to see what's on her screen, okay? If you can't be there, sign up anyway because I email out a private link to the recording afterwards. So you can watch it after the fact if you can't make it. The other way you can support me is by buying your coffee at Holler Roast. I roast everything to order, and it's been a big week for me this week. It's been a fun week. Lots of roasting, almost like Christmas, really. It was like, as if people realized they better stock up on coffee. But you can do that all over at hollerroast.com. We have a number of varieties. I am running low on a few of them and working out a system for restocking that right now through my vendors. With that, guys, go out, make it a great week. See, it was a totally different podcast the second time. It's just the way that always goes. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me on the live stream. It was I knew eventually something would go horribly wrong with this, and that is what happened. What I'm going to do right now is save the file before it forgets what it did. Okay, I've saved the file. And I don't know if you have ideas how I can let people know a little bit more in advance, because I probably knew half an hour ago I was going to launch this at about 3. I could start putting that out on social. This is just a big experiment for me, so I'm learning. So just let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.